Hey guys! For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris. I'm the guy who runs the Chris and Ray channel. I'm the guy who edits on the Chris and Ray channel. I'm kind of the guy who advertises on the Chris and Ray channel. And I wanted to make this little update video as you watch me build this Minecraft house in the background. And I just wanted to address a few things. First, primarily, I know a lot of you, maybe some of you, I don't know, maybe none of you, are interested in where the final installment of the Sharpay series is. I'm just going to be honest, I'm not really feeling it right now. I kind of burnt myself out on making that video series, and so it's going to be released a little bit later in the year. That's just especially because of how big the final project of the final video is going to be. There's a lot that I want to cover. I don't know how long the video is actually going to take, but I know just the research portion is a very grueling task, and it's a very big task for me to do right now. It's kind of a behemoth, and so I'm a little burnt out on it. I'll get back to it at some point, but that's kind of where I'm at. Also, I kind of want to run some stuff by you guys so you get a feel for what's to come from this channel. Like I said, this is an update video, so I just want to let you know where this channel is going, what direction it's going in, and how fast we're going to be going in that direction. So, first, the podcast. And I've talked with Ray, and he and I are both on board for the podcast to come back, but there's going to be some changes that are involved with that podcast. So to start things off, the format is going to change. The video format itself is going to change. So I know most of you are familiar, if you've been around this channel for long enough, with the Chris and Ray podcast, that you know that there's just this blank white slate canvas that is very bright, kind of obnoxious at some points if you're late at night listening or, something like that. And so instead of a blank canvas, especially an eyesore of a canvas like in the background of previous podcasts, I'm going to try and record gameplay in the background, sort of like the one running right now, sort of like the build that I'm doing in Minecraft right now, just to keep y'all a little bit more engaged, a little bit more entertained, that kind of thing. And the game played currently is Minecraft, but who knows? That build video that you see me doing right now might be a continuous thing within a few podcasts until I have this town going or something. And that might just be a little Easter egg for you guys to just enjoy watching as we talk. Also, on top of the video format changing, there's also going to be a little change in the audio format. And that can be through timing, that's going to be through audio leveling, that's going to be through what we talk about even. So to start with what we talk about, usually you've seen it go, we kind of ramble a little bit, which isn't bad, and we kind of shoot the just a little bit, but at the same time, to make things a little bit easier for me since I'm editing, we're going to actually implement legitimate segments into the podcast. We're going to try and make it a little bit more formal, a little less rambly, and more focused on main points that we want to drive home in the particular podcast episode. To give you guys an experience of that, to give you a taste of that, I'm going to be recording a little bit later in the video with Ray a little taste of what this future podcast is going to look like. So this is sort of like an episode 0, if you will, to give you a taste of what that's going to be like in future podcasts. And also, I don't mean to spoil anything, but hopefully one of these segments is going to be trivia with either a punishment for the host that loses in the game of trivia or a reward for the winner. It just kind of depends on where we're at, what's going to happen, that kind of thing. Secondly, timing for the podcast is also going to be different. Like I said before, we kind of ramble in some cases. And instead of it being, we're going to record as much as we want and see what we'll keep, it's going to be more of a, okay, we have 30 minutes. What do we want to do with that 30 minutes? And hopefully that saves me a little bit of elbow grease in editing. Hopefully it makes it a little more digestible for you guys on that end, because I know a 60-minute podcast is very hard to sit through in one sitting, especially on the internet when everybody is very much so ADHD. And finally, audio leveling. And this is the one that is going to be the hardest for me to do, mainly because I'm very inexperienced with audio leveling. But as an amateur, I'll hopefully be able to level the audio between me and Ray within the podcasts in the future to come. And again, I apologize that you've had to suffer with me being too loud and Ray being too quiet, but at the same time, I'm still new to this. I'm recording a Discord call or a Zoom call or a Facebook Messenger call or whatever, and so it's a little bit harder for me to figure out how to audio level in that regard, but I will work on it, I promise. Also, Finally, this is the last thing, I promise. This is the last thing for the update. Instead of this solely being a podcast channel, which you guys have seen in the past, like last year, it was exclusively a podcast channel. But this year, I'm hoping to change things up a bit. You saw that I did video essays or rants on certain things, particularly Sharpay and High School Musical, and I'd love to continue to do those in the future. I'd also, if my recording software OBS allows it, I'd love to upload gameplay with either a co-host, maybe Ray, maybe not, it depends, or with a few co-hosts, Ray included, but at this point that's a pipe dream, and if I'm being utterly honest, I think that a solo commentary on a gameplay is rather boring, especially when the commentary is about Minecraft or Portal or a single-player game that doesn't really have a lot to talk about, and so I'd rather do co-hosts or one co-host for recording gameplay because that would just be more enjoyable, hopefully for both me and you, the viewer. And so because these plans rely on people and relies on OBS not being crappy, I'm not sure how gameplay will actually get recorded, so remain hopeful on that front, I guess. Also, I did say that the gameplay was the last thing, but I promise this is the official last thing. It's always been my dream to make a short film or movie, and as some of my personal friends know, Ray included, I've seriously taken huge chunks out of my time to write scripts, make parodies, get together people to make a movie, and those are things that I love to do. I love to conceptualize, I love to really put in the elbow work, the elbow grease to make a concept that I'm really happy with into a reality. It's my dream to make a film based off of that, so hopefully, instead of making a project that never sees the light of day, I'll actually get to make a legitimate project down the road. So, now that that update is out of the way, I'd like to give you a little taste of the different formatting, a little taste of what we want to talk about, stuff like that. So, without further ado, here's my friend, my lovely friend, my co-host, Ray, with the Chris and Ray podcast.
Guess who?
Oh, okay, so we've been off the air for about a year. The last upload we did it wasn't even me and you hosting the podcast, it was you and Colin, and you were talking about Lord of the Rings.
Well, Lord of the Rings is a very interesting subject, which is tragic that you weren't in that video, though.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of fair. But at the same time, like, we've moved on. And, I mean, it's been a year, so things have happened. We both have very diverse, different schedules going on in our lives. We did record a podcast about Avengers Endgame at one point, and that never saw the light of day.
Oh my god.
I think the audio file either got corrupted, or I wasn't satisfied with how it turned out, or something like that, but it never got uploaded. I could upload it if I find the file, but I'm not sure how good of a video it would be, you know. That's kind of where I'm at. But that's where we're at, guys.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so, Ray, it's been a year.
It's been a long time.
We haven't seen each other in a year.
It's been a long time.
How's it going, man? Like, you've got a job, I've got a job, we're both very busy men. Like, how's it going?
Considering everything else that's happening this year, me personally, I'm great.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Oh.
COVID-19, the fires in Australia, the race riots in the United States. Things have happened, but I'm glad that you're okay.
I'm glad you're
really
okay.
Good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm living life, you know, as you've probably seen. I'm making videos again.
Oh, I have seen.
Yeah.
I saw the first one.
You saw the first. That's okay. That's fine. I don't expect everybody to be as emotionally invested in High School Musical or in Sharpay Evans as I am. That's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, who's Sharpay Evans?
She's the blonde one. She's got the gay brother.
Oh, the fun one.
Yeah. No, she's not fun. She's horrible.
Yeah, she's horrible. It's entertaining.
She's despicable. I'm glad you agree with me that she's despicable and horrible, because she's literally... There are people out there, okay? There are people out there that say she's this sympathetic hero who deserves praise and glory. And to them I say, you're wrong. And that's all I'm going to say about that. There are rants that I've made. I'm not going to get into this, okay?
I just think she's fun to watch. Just see, what is this crazy bitch gonna do next?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying she's not fun to watch, okay? I'm just saying she's a bad person.
Oh! 100%.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying she's a bad person who doesn't deserve any praise, love, or...
Sympathy.
Sympathy. Yeah, thank you. I almost said children there.
Chris, this year's been hard for you, I guess. It's taking us to dark levels.
We're in the darkest timeline, my man. We're in the darkest timeline. So, in the past year, we were...
Need to take a breath?
I do need to take a breath.
Take a breath.
I think I'm ready.
Push!
In the past year, where we haven't seen a lot of each other, do you have any good stories to tell about work or about play or about roommates or whatever? Like, what's new with you, my man?
Pick a subject and I'll go there.
Tell me a good story from work.
Let's see.
Well,
Due to plague.
Due to plague.
You know how, like, a bunch of businesses immediately started showing, oh, we care and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, they started handing out masks voluntarily and
Yeah.
Took my work 2 months to do that.
Yikes. That's not good.
Ooh, it was bad. A bunch of people at work got it.
Ooh. So are you okay then, or?
Oh, I'm fine. It's just that I was just concerned, like, why aren't we shutting down?
So I guess you were deemed essential then.
Oh yeah, well,
Okay.
we're all essential.
Okay, I gotcha.
Convenience of working in a warehouse with food.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I have a very different route that was taken for me. Like, I work in a municipal entity, right? And so, like, my boss called me and he goes, yeah, since we're a municipal entity, we're just going to shut down. You're going to be out of a job for a little bit. And I'm like, okay. That's what happened. And so, like, I was out of a job for 2 months. I'm back to work now, which is great. I'm loving that. I'm getting paid again, and that's good. Plague aside, disease aside, pandemic aside, I have a story about working there at this place.
Ooh, you have a story?
I do.
Oh.
And some people have heard it. I posted it on Snapchat a while ago.
I definitely haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, basically, my story for work begins like this. I am getting done with my shift for the day. I work hourly. I have a work truck. I have a key card. I have a bunch of cool bells and whistles that I get to use because I work there. And I'm driving my truck into the little truck garage that's in an impound lot within my company. I park the truck. I close the garage door. I get out of the truck. It had rained that day. It had rained hard that day. It was super wet outside still. It was still kind of drizzly outside. It was messy. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that day is over. I notice in the back of my truck, in the bed of my truck, I have got 2 wet garbage bags because it had been rained on and I was collecting garbage.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go throw these out in the dumpster. I grab the wet garbage bags and I run outside to the dumpster and I throw the garbage away and I turn around and I'm trying to get back into the automated lock door. Like, the door's lock is automated and it has like a key card scanner to get me in. And I'm searching through my pockets. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go back in. I'm just going to open the door. And I didn't have my key card.
Oh.
Which, that would have been fine had somebody in the building been there. Because I would have just called them and they would have let me in. But nobody was there. I called my boss and I'm
just
like...
you?
Yeah, it was just me. I called my boss. I didn't realize it was just me at the time, though. And so I called my boss and I ring him on the phone and I'm like, hey, boss. I am... unfortunately locked out of the building. I left my key card in my truck. Can you just come out of your office, walk down to the garage, and open the door? And he goes, yeah, I'm not there. And he goes, yeah, I'm not there. You might want to see if somebody at another building can let you in with their key card.
You're the only one in your building.
Yeah. At that point in time, I was, because I was getting done with my shift. I guess other people had just left early or whatever. And I'm like, well, this is cool. I'm stuck outside in an impound lot in a drizzly area. And so I'm checking the impound lot to see if I can get out of the impound lot. But I can't, okay? I can't manually, walk out because it's got an automated gate. And I am not big enough to trigger the automated gate to open, I guess. And so I don't have a code to open it either. So I'm trapped in this little impound lot that is fenced in, that has walls on 3 sides of it and an automated fence that I can't get out of manually. I can't walk out of at the front of it. I'm sitting there thinking,
well, I guess I'll die in here.
I said to myself, I'm going to have to climb the fence. Okay? And so I'm scanning areas of the fence and I go, okay, quick. what would a parkour warrior do?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay, if I get enough momentum, I can just spring myself over this 6-foot tall fence, and I'll get to the other side and I'll be okay. And so I go to a flat section of fence, like a straight section of fence that has no corners, no areas to put my footing in, nothing. And I try to use my momentum to propel myself over the fence, and I fail horrifically.
Straight into the fence?
Yeah, I just go straight into the fence, and it's not a good sight. It's not a pretty sight. And so I'm like, okay, I need to step back. I need to reevaluate. I need to figure out what I need to do.
What would a parkour warrior do?
What would a parkour warrior do? I scan the fence until I see this little corner. And there's 2 sections of fence. There's a 6-foot fence on one side. There's another 6-foot fence on the other side. There's a little corner. And it's got little tiny, insignificant little latches connecting the fence to the post, right? And so I'm thinking, I'll just climb on those latches and throw myself over the fence. And it's wet still. The fence is actually soaked. It is wet. It is slippery. And I'm climbing up these latches, up this 6-foot fence, and I'm like, I am going to hurt myself, and nobody's here. I can't even press life alert and have somebody come running to me.
Help, I've fallen and
exactly.
I can't get up.
If I say help, I've fallen and I can't get up, nobody's going to pick me up that time because nobody's there. And so I'm climbing up this fence, freaking out. I'm like, I'm going to fall. I don't want to fall. And I get to the top of the fence. I hop over the fence. Parkour warrior land on the asphalt, superhero style. I'm like, I'm so cool. I'm a bad. And it wasn't that cool. It was a 6-foot fence. And so I still don't have a key card. I figured to myself, okay, the hard part is out of the way. I'm going to run into the building next to mine where there are people there. I'm gonna pop open the door. I'm gonna be like, hey, I locked myself out of the building. Can somebody help me? I run over to the other building, and I'm getting ready to do this. That's me opening the door. That's me opening the door.
Hadouken!
Yeah, I'm getting ready to Hadouken the door open and scream at the top of my lungs, help me! I need help. I need to get back into my building. And the door's locked. It's also keycard locked. I don't have a key card. And so I'm very defeated at this point. I'm like, oh, well, I can't get my key card to get back into the building. It's supposed to be the end of my pay period today. I can't turn in my pay stub. My car keys are inside. I can't even go home. I'm defeated, and I'm starting to walk back to my building.
And parkour warrior spirit.
In the parkour, yeah, exactly. I'm the parkour warrior's no more. I'm just crying at this point.
Aw.
And I'm not actually crying, but I'm super just
defeated.
Yeah, just defeated. I'm like, oh.
Your cell after you got punched in the stomach and threw up the androids.
Exactly. I'm like, my day was going so well, and this is just a sucker punch to the gut. And somebody sees me coming out from the other building, and they roll down their window, and it's somebody I recognize.
Oh,
right?
Thank God.
But I'm so defeated and flustered to the point that even if I did recognize this person, formalities are all in order. And she goes, do you need help with something? And I'm like, yeah, I work at that building. And she goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, I recognize you. That's right. Because it had not registered with me that I recognized this person and that she recognized me. And so she goes, hey, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah, I work there. And she goes, I know, we've met before. And
Have you just pretended I don't exist?
Right.
What
and
does she think of you now?
I don't know. But I'm like, I think to myself, oh, that was not the right thing to say. But, I'm already gone. It's fine. We'll just move on. And I say to her, yeah, I work there. I just need back in the building. And she goes, yeah, I'll try to let you in. I'll see if my key card works. And my immediate thought was, you'll see if your key card works? You don't know if your key card works for that building? How do you not know that? You work here. What are you doing? I didn't say this out loud, of course. I didn't want to insult her.
You're just in your mind oh, this might not go well.
Exactly. So she drives over to the other building. I run back because I didn't have a car or a truck or
anything.
And so I run back. She drives back. And she gets out of her car. She moseys on up the steps to the door. She scans her key card. There's a beep. The door opens, and I'm like, yes!
Thank you, Lord!
Thank you, no! And she goes, yeah, no problem. And then I run inside, grab my key card, grab my pay stub, grab my car keys, turn in my pay stub, walk out the building, and that's it.
Happy ending.
It was a very happy ending.
Another happy landing.
And exactly. And that's the only good story I have from my job. I love my job, don't get me wrong. My job's great. But that's the only funny, somewhat different experience that I've had there. Otherwise, it's just a very normal, very mundane job. But it's good. I love it. I love it. The pay's good. The people are great. But, yeah.
That's how Chris, the parkour warrior,
that
escaped the situation.
That's what they call me, parkour warrior, because in 2020 I hopped a fence to escape an impound lot.
Oh. And this is just the first of many situations with Chris, the parkour warrior.
Hide your women, hide your children. Parkour warrior is coming for you. That sounded more threatening than I meant.
It took a turn.
It did take
What's
a turn.
with you in these dark turns?
I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, just things have happened, man. I'm a different man. I'm a changed man.
2020's changed me.
2020's changed me for the worst.
Your kids will be going, Dad, what's wrong with you?
And,
you weren't there. Back in 2020, times were different. You had to punch bitch for toilet paper.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. Since we're in 2020, and since things are bad, let's try to lighten the atmosphere. Let's try to lighten the mood. We'll do this like hypothetical, okay? So I have a hypothetical for you.
Ooh, okay.
Since we're in 2020, and since it is the future is now.
Oh yeah.
If you had the chance to talk with your younger self, 1, what would you tell them? And 2, would you try to alter the course of your own personal history by talking to your younger self? So, like, if something bad happened to you in 2020 and you had a chance to talk to your 12-year-old self, and you were like, yo, this is what happens to you, would you do that? Or would you let stuff run its course, and that way you're the same person?
Ooh. I'd tell myself to do different. Also, I'd give myself tips on how to get rich.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty good.
Okay, you're going to be a better person, but we're also going to get really rich.
We're going to get money. We're going to get money in the process.
Trust me, we're going to get bank.
But the thing is, for me, like, if I had the opportunity to talk to my younger self, I'm not sure I would. If somebody was like, yo, go talk to your 12-year-old self, I might be like, make me, you know?
I'd be like, no, that kid's an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, yeah, I don't really want to talk to my younger self because if I do, and he changes because of what I say, then I would be a different person in the future, and I don't want to be a different me, you know? I'd rather, like, if I avoid talking to him, then I stay the same, and I've had the same experiences, and then I actually learn from that, you know?
I do like me.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of my logic on it. Like, it's like, I kind of like myself, you know?
I like where I am now, but I think a lot of people look back at their past like, oh, that guy was
well, yeah, but I mean, who doesn't? And I think the thing is, if you had the opportunity to change your past self, if you did, and they changed whether for the better or for the worse, it would still change who you were today. So, like, if I went back and I said to my past self, hey, you're going to meet this girl in the future. Don't date her. Don't interact with her. Don't do anything with her. And I'd be like, okay.
That would be me with every girl I dated in our high school.
Okay, but, okay, hear me out, okay? If I did that, if I said that to myself, and then the younger self that now becomes me listened to what I said and obeyed that, I would not have learned anything. Right. And so that's kind of what I figure. If I went and told myself not to do something, and then I didn't do it, I wouldn't have learned that. I wouldn't have learned what not to do, you know? Not to get too philosophical. That's a new word. Philosophical. Thank you. Not to get too philosophical on you, but life is a learning experience, you know? So, like, everything you do, whether you think it or not, like, you're learning and you're changing and you're processing and you're doing all of this to become a different, maybe better, maybe worse person.
I have just made a Facebook post that relates, like, to this exactly.
Yeah.
Like, with life, happiness, is trial and error.
Yeah,
Don't give up, you fucking loser.
Yeah, absolutely. Happiness is 100% trial and error. And it's what you do in that process of trial and error that actually makes you, you know?
Yeah, like, oh, I did that. I didn't really care for it. Don't do it again. Try something else.
Exactly. And that's kind of the thing.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Since we got so deep with that last one.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think a caterpillar feels when it finally becomes a butterfly?
A caterpillar? Like, what do I think a caterpillar feels when it becomes a butterfly?
Yeah, because it spent its whole life crawling on its belly. And, like, at the final end, last week of its life, it gets to fly everywhere.
Can caterpillars, like, feel? Do caterpillars have emotion?
Well, we're having that argument.
Okay, no. We'll run on the basis that caterpillars do have emotion.
Okay, say they do.
Yeah. Hypothetically, they do. What do I think a caterpillar feels after it becomes a butterfly?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know much about caterpillars or butterflies, but I do know for a fact that when they're in the pupa, the little chrysalis, the cocoon, if you will, they're like goo, right? So they're encased, and then there's just goo. So I would think, as a butterfly, I'd be like, yeah, I just came from goo. So I'm just gonna live life, enjoy life, make baby, move on. Pollinate some plants, you know?
It'd be so, I want to say euphoric.
Yeah. I feel like some butterflies, like, migrate, you know?
Oh, yeah, the monarch butterflies, right?
Yeah, they migrate to the south. So that'd be a fun trip in and of its own right. Like, it'd be like, yo, we're flying south, homie.
Sup, dog?
Sup, dog?
Where you come from? Michigan? Oh, no.
Where you come from? Indiana. Where you come from? Ohio. Yeah, Ohio's dumb.
Ohio's awful.
We hate Ohio.
We are not fans.
You know what? Go Ohio.
Go Ohio!
Ah! I might go the way of the butterfly and fly south.
Oh.
Or I might go the way of the parkour warrior and go wherever it looks cool to do parkour at.
So you're thinking about moving?
No, not necessarily.
Mm.
I'm just saying, it's possible that in the future I'd go the way of the parkour warrior and I'd, like, hop, skip, and jump someplace else.
If you end up moving somewhere, just don't move to Florida.
Yeah, of course not. Why would I move to Florida? Have you seen, like, all the news headlines, like, Florida man murders crocodile with high-heeled shoe or something like that? Like,
Florida's crazy.
Florida's psychotic, man.
But I was talking about the weather. It's always hot and humid, and I hate it.
If I was to move out of the Midwest, I don't think I would move to a hot place. Like, I don't like the heat. I much prefer winter over summer.
I plan on dying in the UP, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. But, like, if I was to move out of the Midwest, I'd like to think I'd move to somewhere that's got another temperate climate. Like, I'd rather move to Canada or, like, Oregon or someplace cooler, you know? Maybe someplace in the mountains. The mountains would be cool.
Ooh, mountains would be nice.
Yeah.
You drove past mountains, right?
Oh, yeah, I've drove past mountains. I've been in the mountains.
I haven't been in the mountains, but that's going to happen when I go to Tennessee. That's going to be amazing.
Oh, my gosh. Going in the mountains is such a great experience. You could get sick if you drive in them for too long. Like, you could get, like upset stomach because of the elevation changes and stuff.
Yeah, you're going up and down, your ears pop.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that happened to me before. But, like, when you get there and if you're not sick, you just got to, like, step back and take it in because the mountains are, like, honestly so cool because it makes you feel so small. But at the same time, it's like, yo, this is a cool world we live in where I can feel so tiny compared to everything around me. And if you just sit back and, like, take in the mountains and you, like, scan the area, it's just, like, it's so cool, you know?
Oh, when I was driving past them, my mom just said, hey, mountains are coming up. I'm like, what mountains? I just see a wall.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, you're passing by and it's just a wall. There's no, like, dip on a hill you can see the top. I was just staring up. I'm like, I can't see the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I was in Virginia for a while, for about a week in the spring. And we were at this little bowl, we were in this little bowl surrounded by mountains. And, like, everywhere you turned, it was just mountains. And so, like, I could see, like, the top of them. I think I might have a picture. But, like, you could see the top of them, but, like, every direction you looked, it was just, you were surrounded by mountains. And it was so flippin' cool.
Like, I think the closest thing I've had to that would be when I was in the UP. Like
Yeah.
near the entrance, there's the stairs that goes on.
Yeah.
For like forever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like you get to the top and you just see everything, like trees for miles in every direction, and the hills.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You gotta take a minute and take that shit in.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so to conclude, that was a little bit, kind of a taste for you guys to see what this podcast might end up being with actual segments. We kind of talked about 3 different things today. That's kind of what I want to do with the other podcasts. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Ray, do you have any closing statements?
For the record, we were not high.
The Parkour Warrior and Ray are very, very straight edge, obviously. So yeah, I'm Chris.
I'm Ray.
And that was the Chris and Ray podcast. Take care, guys.
Love you.
Blech.